keypad. Sorry about that. I am going to introduce you to Reverend Deb. And I almost feel like she does not need any introduction. She's been with us a lot lately, and she is also a member of our family here. She's an ordained interfaith minister, having gone through seminary at One Spirit. And she is also a CSL registered science of mind practitioner. And she has been that since 2009. She has a passion for supporting others in the transformation and exploring their authentic selves using various spiritual practices such as meditation, affirmation, affirmative prayer, and visualization, as well as facilitating various classes. It is her joy to support others in rediscovering their truth, recognizing their true expressions of the One, whole, perfect, and amazingly exactly as they are. She is a wisdom seeker, a person who answers the call to live a life that continues to awaken her to an inner knowingness and lifts her to a higher level of consciousness. And I give you Reverend Deb.
Good morning, Rockland CSL family. It is so good to be with you all again this morning. It's this topic, when I looked at the tyranny of or, it kind of threw me for a loop for a while because I don't live in that kind of place. It's like I have choice. We have free will to step out and do what it is that we would like to do or change. So as I was preparing for this talk this morning, um, there were a couple of things that came up, and it was funny because the song by Black Sheep, The Choice is Yours, and the lyric that was in there was like, you can get with this or you can get with that. And when I heard it, I started laughing. I'm just like, really, Spirit? And then I went to go listen to the song, but it's the hook part that really makes sense for me because in this world that we live in, the growing up as children, our parents say, well, you need to do this or you need to do that. And if you don't do that, then you're going to be punished. Or there's some type of punishment that's attached to it. But also, people say that things are black or white. Well, why can't they be mixed and, become gray or add a little color to it? So why does it have to be that we have to live in this particular paradigm of what the world is saying this is how we are to live our lives? Well, in some cases, that may have worked. And we're truly in this place of shifting our mindset, shifting our belief system. And that's where that you can get with this, the old mindset, or you can get with that, the new mindset that we know of who we are and whose we are as we are moving through this world, knowing that we have the tools and the powers to know that if you're going down a road and all of a sudden it's like there's a dead end that's there, but there's a building that's in front of you, and you could say go left or go right, and you could make the choice because your directions may say you need to go left, but something within you is saying go right. Which choice do you make? Because the left may take you to traffic, the right may take you to something that might be more amazing. So it's this thing of the either or. It's about shifting that paradigm. It's truly about letting go of these old beliefs of how we are to show up in the world at this time. We are in such an amazing time space that who we are, the children that are coming up, the mindsets of these individuals that are showing up right now are way different than anything that may have happened 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. But we still have people that are living in those old time frames. And I think about I'm here in Savannah, Georgia. And I came here in 2013, and then I left, went to Texas, and I came back. And here they don't have a Trader Joe's. I love Trader Joe's. That's one of my favorite stores, but we don't have one here. So whenever I travel elsewhere, I make sure it's like, you know what? I need to make sure I go shopping. I'm going to Trader Joe's, get what I need, and come back. So they've been trying to get Trader Joe's here, still hasn't happened. But I realized that I had a conversation with some older people, actual, native Savannah people, and they have this mindset that they don't want to incorporate more traffic into Savannah. And I'm thinking, but if it allows growth, then why not allow this company to bring its stores into here? Because a lot of people here are looking for that store. And they're adamant about, no, it won't happen. So it's trying to break people's patterns of what they've been stuck in for so long, and why we're showing up, why the themes that we're having for this year of living out loud, the CSL themes of living out loud. How do we do that? How do we step into what Spirit is calling us to do? How do we listen and tap into that inner knowingness that moves us in the direction of what it is that's ours to do next? Stepping out of our fear, knees knocking, doesn't matter, but moving forward because there's something greater that's calling you to step into and say, this is the time. This is the time for you to make this move. This is the time to let go of those old belief patterns, the old habits that we may have had, the thought processes that we may have carried of our parents. You have your own mind. Use that mind. Spirit has ingrained in you the ability to decree what it is that you want for your life. I have this mantra that I use on a daily basis, and it is that I decree it must be. Because there is this thing that if I'm knowing this, if I'm living in this, then it must be made manifest. Now, mind you, it may not show up right away, but it's in the making because I'm holding that space. I think about with my job, and I started here in 2016. So it's been 7 years, no, 2015. So it's been 8 years. But what I realized this morning was how I started out as a worker bee. I've allowed I traveled to Texas and lived there for a couple of years and transferred my job there as well. So I had the ability to do that. And then Spirit called me back here. And it wasn't until this morning that I realized that when I stepped back into this position, but I stepped in as a supervisor rather than just a worker bee, that I had the ability to change minds. I had the ability to recreate how I wanted to see what we do here. Now, the company has its own global thing. They're up in Atlanta or in Kentucky. But here in my area, this is how I need for things to happen. And so I was able to come in and create opportunities for people to how they can show up and to see them in the way that they need to be seen. Most of them don't know that I'm a minister, but it's like, but I still walk through when I'm having conversation with them, seeing them in this different mindset, encouraging them to continue to do what they're doing. And I notice differences in some of the people, others it takes a little while. But I realized I had to come back here in order to change mindsets of how people showed up working for this company. But I also had to change my own mindset of how I saw the company overall. And in this process, this morning, what was revealed was that this journey with this company has come full circle because I started 8 years ago as a worker bee, and now I've come back as a supervisor, and I've created some change here. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, Spirit, now what? So I'm open to the what's next, but I also think about, it's like, and I've shared this before. It's like, I don't know how many of you have these shower moments, um, that there's moments of inspiration that shows up. It's like when you're in the shower and everything. And this morning, as I was doing that, what kept coming to me was the song Break Every Chain. And I kept hearing that and hearing that. I'm just like, really? And I'm like, okay, Spirit. So I want to go and listen to it. And in that song, although it talks about in the name of Jesus, there's power. And what I looked at is when we are in this place of the ability to change our own mindsets. And as we change who we are, then we can change and make a difference in the world to make it a world that works for everyone. We start in our homes, we start in our jobs, we start in our communities. And it's this opportunity to break every chain, breaking the chain of how people show up, it's like in the world, how people look to other people, the aspect of racism, the aspect of how do we change that? How do we change who we love, how we love? How do we change how we wear our hair? How do we change what clothes we wear? How do we change how we identify in the world? Because all of that has changed over the past few years, how people identify. All of that has changed. And it's like, so now we're looking at how do we break this chain of what people believed in the past about how women should look, how men should look, how whatever. Everybody has this idea of how they want to identify in the world. And who are we to say that how they want to identify, it doesn't matter. It's like, well, no, you have to identify this way. No, this is that opportunity to break those chains. In that power of knowing who we are, whose we are, and moving in the world through that. When we hear these conversations that may seem negative or derogatory towards different races, sexes, it doesn't matter. Even to ourselves, sometimes it's like, when do we stop and say, enough is enough? When do we stop and say, we break this chain right here and right now? We let this go. This can no longer continue. And this is that thing of that either or, because it's like, it's not either you're this way or you're that way. We have options. We know how we want to show up in the world. A lot of times now it's like, how many times I think about the space system, how many times did they have women going into space before because they said women can't go into space? So now you have an abundance of women because they are like, no, we are breaking this chain. We are learning and going through and getting the education to be able to do what they're doing. We have these women that, now like the WNBA, it's like how we're still they're fighting for pay rights, to kind of meet up to where the men are. They're standing up and stepping up and breaking that chain because it's going to change. It's slowly but surely happening. And there has to be a catalyst for that change. And it gets to the point of when enough is enough. And now we want to do something and say, I need to go make a difference. I make a difference. But it also starts with going into doing our spiritual work, our spiritual practice. Yesterday, I did a visioning session with some friends of mine in California. And in that process, in that visioning process, it's an opportunity we ask the questions, but also to be open to the answers that show up. And that's what this whole process is. If we're asking what is mine to do, to break this chain, what is mine to do to kick that or to the curb and to walk into my power, walk into what spirit is calling me to do. Listening to spirit, listening to that divine that knows exactly what it's doing. There is that within us that knows exactly what it's doing and how to operate in us. It's up to us to listen and to move forward. A lot of times we get these callings that, spirit calls us to do some amazing things in the world, to write a song, to sing, to, you know, write a book or whatever the case may be. And we get this mindset that all of a sudden our parents or somebody may say, well, who are you to do that? You don't know how to do that. You don't know how to write a book, or you don't have the voice to sing a song. whatever. And we take that in and we run with it as children whenever it shows up and we start shrinking down. But what I know is that when spirit gives you a calling to do something, you can not do anything with it in that moment, but it is not going away. It will still be there. And sometimes some of our callings are to be, how do we stand on the front line to make a difference in the world? How do we march? How do we show up to let our voices be heard to make a difference? There are so many people running for office. Those are ways that they can break that chain of how we no longer support the rights of, for the separation or the segregation that's happening when we talk about voting rights. And it's like how they try to isolate certain areas. There are people coming into office that speak up to say, no, this is not right. This is our time right here and right now. This is that moment for us to say, use me for something greater. Because in our own minds, we can say, yes, I'm going to go and stand out here. I'm going to go and picket. And, I know in New York, they had the writer's strike and everything else, and they were standing up for what they felt was right. They were breaking that chain of the old way, the old paradigm of how the corporations and the TV producers and movie people showed up and how they were being treated. That's taking a stand. It's about how do we stand up and step into what spirit is calling us to do. And when I kept hearing this, break every chain, and then as we are knowing and declaring what it is that we want to see in our world, we hold that vision, we see it, embody it. And it's like, and seeing those chains falling, those chains breaking away, the change is happening within our lives. We see that. How do we continue to move forward? How do we bring other people along? It takes time, but it takes one voice, one step to move forward into what we're being called to do. This is that it's no longer about either or. This is about, this is what I'm called to do. This is what I'm going to step into and do. We get the tools. It may become more schooling may be needed, different career opportunity may be required, a move may need to happen. But what I know is that when we say yes to something greater, that spirit and the universe is already conspiring to make this work for us. You know, when I was preparing for this, I could feel there's such an amazing energy that I feel as I was preparing for this morning when I got that hit about the break every chain. And that's where that creation happens. It's when you feel that energy of what you're calling forth, what you want to see happen, feel that energy behind what it is that you want to see. For me, what I know is that there is such a buildup that happens energetically that I feel it through all of my, in my entire beingness. And I just go into this place of absolute gratitude, giving thanks for this that is already happening, even when I can't see it in this moment. I know that it's happening. And because I trust the divine, I know without a shadow of a doubt that it will come to fruition. There's patience on our parts as we're moving forward. Last week, when Reverend Melissa, we were talking about shaking up the worldview. That's what this is about. This breaking that chain is about changing that worldview, shifting it, to create something different. It doesn't matter if you're in wherever you are in New York, in Georgia, California, wherever it is. What I know is that when it happens in one place, it happens everywhere. There's an effect that goes out into the world and it creates a space that starts happening. When we start praying for peace, in the world. One person, two people, they're together, be in different locations, praying for peace. It goes out into the world. There is an energetic shift that happens. And in that space, there's a knowingness that something starts settling down. Have you ever gotten into like an argument with someone and it's like you need to break that shift of how you're responding or what's coming at you? I've done it before, and it's like, and in my mind, I just, as I'm listening, I'm saying love, 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 or peace. And there is a shift that happens very subtly sometimes. And some, it's like all of a sudden the conversation just kind of ends. But I realize it's my energy, it's our energy that we're putting out into the world. And as we're stepping into this, it's about how do we create a world that works for everyone, no matter where they are. And that's what our theme is about. That's who CSL is about. We're about creating that space. So we become the examples of what we want to see in the world. During our quiet times, it's like your meditation times or prayer time, and sometimes even just driving. When you're dealing with traffic, how do we change the paradigm of how we see people that may cut us off? And for me, that's kind of a big one sometimes because I have to be like, ooh, Lord, say, really, you just cut me off? Let me breathe, please. But what I know is that I can either say, you know what, I back off. And sometimes I've done it when they're trying to get in front of me and I let them in. I just say, I wave at them, it's like, have a good day. And it keeps me sane and my blood pressure down. So, but that's how it works out in the world. It's all about energy. It's all about our mindset. So as we see it and declare it, we know that there's something that's happening. So, that's my challenge for you as well. What is it that you want to see different happening in your world, in your environment? Create a picture of it. Put that energy behind it and say, I can make a difference here. And no matter what anyone else may say, when people may say, well, you can't make a difference. Yes, I can. Or they say, you cannot, you have to live this way, or you have to do this work this way. Says who? God has given us free will. So we have the free will to do whatever the heck we want to do. But we also have to understand that there are laws that are associated with us doing whatever the heck we want to do. And it's still an opportunity to open up, break that paradigm, be true to who we are called here to do, because we're all spiritual beings. We just have this is just this is a vehicle that I'm hanging out in this lifetime. And how I'm choosing to show up in this moment when I tap into that inner makes a big difference. It makes a difference for you all as well. So, in this process of just knowing who we are and what we're here to do, we can either stay in this place of either or we can kick that to the side and create a different world, different attitude, a different way of being to show up in this world. So this has been an amazing opportunity for me, and say because I was not sure how what spirit was going to bring to me to present. But now this has opened up some doors for me to take after this conversation that I'm having with you all. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like it's a conversation that I'm talking, but it's like I can see your beautiful faces and everything. But this is so needed right now because there are so many people that are relying on us to step out and do something greater. The little kids that are coming up, they already know who they are. They're ready to step into this world and say, you know what? even at 2 years old, no, I'm not doing that. They have that mindset. We do this, but then, because we've gotten older and, well, I don't know, maybe so. And as the saying goes, let your no be no and your yes be yes. Live in that moment. Change the paradigm. If something doesn't feel right, change it. You have the power to do that. And again, you can get with this old mindset or you can get with this new mindset. The choice truly is yours. So, with that, let us go into prayer. Ooh, so right here in this right now, very moment, all there is God. God is, I am, and all is well. God is, you are, and all is truly well. That every fiber of our beingness is God. Knowing that everything that we are here to do, that there is a divine calling that is calling us to step into something much greater than we could ever imagine. Knowing that in this right now moment, that we have the opportunity to say yes to spirit, that we're saying yes, that we are willing to break the chain of the old mindsets, the old belief systems, the old ways of being, that we break those chains, that we're now willing to step into that the spirit is calling us to do that's much greater than anything that we can ever imagine with our human mind in this moment. There is that power within us that knows exactly what to do and how to do it. Hold on tight to that and know that it will never guide you astray. When I know that in this moment that there is this, in that breath, there is this knowingness that the breath that I breathe is the breath of God and it resonates throughout my entire body. That in this moment that we see a world that truly works for everyone, we hold that vision, we hold that energy, we hold that knowing that it is coming true, knowing that all of the old habits and old ways of being have to die away. And even as they are in resistant mode of letting go, we still hold that space of peace. We hold that space of love. We hold that space of knowing the truth that God is in everything and everywhere simultaneously at the same time. What I know is that this time is our time. This moment is our moment. What we choose to do with this, how we choose to show up in this, how we choose to be our true, authentic selves in this moment makes a difference. It sets that butterfly effect into the world. It moves forward. It heals. It tears down old ways of being. It creates new avenues, new roads of showing up to say yes, new roads for other people to come behind us and to know that the way has been paved for them. It allows us to know ourselves, the God that resides within us, our unique ways of showing up as God every moment, every day. We bring that to the table right now. And how good it is to know that in this moment, this is the time that we have been waiting for. Step into it, live it, love it, enjoy it, spread it around. Allow this and allow your light to shine in this moment. Oh, and I'm just grateful for this knowingness, for this time that we've spent together. And knowing that this prayer, that I just truly release this to the universal law, knowing that it is already done in the mind of God. And I anchor this and release this knowing that it is so. And if you could join me with, and so it is. Yeah.
So it is.